what is it going to bring for the company, right? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be an expensive exercise. It's not easy to guarantee that by investing, you will just be secure by design.
Persuading senior teams to talk about and invest in digital security is quite the difficulty. How do you think that CIOs and CTOs can start that discussion and communicate the need for better security?
Yeah, and the first point is I fully agree that it's not an easy game. It's not an easy exercise, of course. I really think the first point, honestly speaking, is to raise the awareness. Because, I mean, for some of them, security is quite new. They don't really understand what that means to do security. It's really a vague and not easy to understand concept, I would say. So I really see that as being like a real accountability for the technology department, basically to explain what that means to be secure, to do security as well. And concretely speaking, what is it going to bring for the company, right? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be an expensive exercise. It's not easy to guarantee that by investing, you will just be secure by design. So it's a little bit like going for an insurance where you have many basically exclusions in the clauses, right? So it's not an easy one for the C-suite to approve, of course. So you really need to communicate a lot about it, to bring the awareness at the right level, to explain things in a really simple way. That would be also my recommendation, because at the end of the day, that's the best way to make it work for the company.
Do you think that agility comes at the expense of security? And how do you believe that company make that assessment of that trade-off?
When you look from a pure process standpoint, you have basically two parts that are really easy to bypass. It's basically architecture and security, because usually they come really late in many projects and basically developments. And if you look at that as being late, basically by design being like not planned, yes, it's basically kind of against agility. But if you put that as a normal process, basically you need to go through architecture, you need to look at security. I don't really see that as being a blocker for the agility. It's more, I would say, a kind of enabler. The sooner you discuss about it, the sooner you align on what you want to do from an architecture and security standpoint, I mean, the easier it's going to be to develop and to deploy, right? So I would say it's a little bit as, I mean, everything. If you don't plan for the resources that you will need for development, you will never get them. That's exactly the same for security. And the more you wait, the more you will need to wait.
Do you have any advice for CTOs to help them build productive and in some instances better relationship with other members of the C-suite, for instance, such as COOs?
I mean, the main point is to be transparent, right? Communication to me is like the number one on the list there. Having a shared view on basically what you have in place, what's your technology landscape as well, what are your priorities, what kind of projects do you have on your plate as well for them, for example, for the COO, but also for the other C-suite members. So I really think it's really key. And then basically having an instance to discuss about that if they don't agree. Because at the end of the day, tech is really there to serve the different departments, to serve the company. It's not there just for the COO or just for the CCO. So I would say transparency is key, but also alignment and communication.
And how do you improve personal relationships across the C-suite to discuss these difficult matters such as digital security and transformation at large?
I would say the point is to be as factual as possible, right? Of course, for a project, when you discuss about timelines, cost, and stuff like that, I mean, the only thing that people can say is like, oh, it's expensive, very time consuming, it's long, you need many people, how can it be? And there the point is really to be really data driven and purely factual. It's like, yeah, we need that because this is what we have in mind. Does that make sense? Isn't it too customized? Can we basically simplify this? And basically it should be more collaboration than just basically an escalation or basically a pushback from the different departments. So the more you engage with them, the more you explain them the why, right? In really simple words, right? Because it's really important as well. The easier it's going to be basically to define priorities and to align on them basically between the different departments. Yeah.
And does that require strong personal relationships?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything is about people, right? So if it's only about like an email and timelines and you need to approve, thank you, it's not going to work. So it's usually more than that. And they need to understand, I mean, not only what is like technology, but they also need to trust you as a tech and business partner.